So Source told me to check out your page today, and what do I see? You following this person named Dean. So I was interested. And so I go to his page, and what do I see? A bunch of that. So that makes me believe that you are lost in the lies again. So as I do whenever I make these videos, I do a lot of research, and I have a lot of research compiled for you.
America has failed its women and daughters. Because Kamala Harris will not be our next president, 60 SA victims per day will continue to be denied access to abortion.
This right here is a map of all the states where it's legal and illegal to get abortions. As you can see, it's primarily the Bible Belt where it is illegal, but they still have exceptions. I am fortunate enough to live in the grand state of Alabama, where they have fun laws like this. Abortion is illegal, with exceptions to preserve the woman's life or physical health. However, there's no exceptions for incest or fatal fetal abnormalities. So, we just suck ass. Like I said, Alabama just sucks. Clarifies that nothing in the law prevents individuals from traveling out of state, but Steve Marshall, which is the guy from Alabama, provisions related to conspiracy would have applicable, for example, someone promoting themselves out as funder of abortion out of state that is penable for criminal. You know, Alabama just sucks. Again, with the topic of moving, like traveling out of state, you have that option. We live in a country where you are allowed to travel to other states legally and have these things legally at your fingertips. So, it says that states cannot legally prevent their residents from going to another state to get an abortion because he believes there is a constitutional right to interstate travel. So no one's stopping you from getting it done. On the topic of cost, people that want an abortion should be aware of the cost to begin with. So, know the cost. As of March 2024, abortion providers charge up to $800 for medical abortions or abortion pills. Surgical abortions can cost up to $1,150 for first trimester to $2,300 in the second trimester. It also says includes fees for ultrasounds, blood tests, medications, these are all things that someone going into abortion would have to consider. So I don't understand why travel cost is so much more to account for. If this is something that you want really to be done, there are states where you could legally have it done. On the topic of not being able to have it done, there are places like Guam where they don't even have services to have it done. So I feel like you should consider yourself lucky to live in a abundant country where we could go literally across the freaking border of another state and get it done. Because there are places that don't have anything. Like literally, no physicians based in Guam have afforded abortions since 2016. Like, I don't. There are 11 other states out of the 50 states in this country that it is illegal to get abortion done with certain exceptions to the rule. So there are still exceptions to the rule. You still have rights. There are still 39 other states that you could go to at will and get these procedures done.
I want this video to serve as a message to the 72 million American citizens that voted for him because you deserve to know the harm that you've caused. Kamala Harris will not be the next president, and this means that Roe v. Wade will not be restored. Because there's no federal protections for abortion,
it still just amazes me that you're getting information from this child that clearly has no information about economy or how civics actually works. Roe versus Wade was not a federal law, it was constitutional. constitutional, not federal law. The Supreme Court and the wider judicial branch determine whether or not it is constitutional for the state to enact certain laws, but the court itself does not codify those laws. That's the job of the legislative branch. Now, Roe v. Wade was a landmark decision by the United States Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protected the right to have an abortion. What's the difference? The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No federal or state law may violate it. Federal laws, statutes, enacted by the United States Congress must be followed by every state in the country. The main difference between federal law and constitutional amendment is that the federal laws are enacted by Congress and apply to the entire country, while the constitutional amendments change the Constitution itself. Federal laws, also known as statutes, are created by Congress and apply to every state. Examples of federal laws include immigration and bankruptcy law. The constitutional amendment changes the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the United States. Amendments can be added to the Constitution as supplements or woven into the existing sections. The Constitution has only been amended 27 times, while the state constitutions are amended much more frequently. So Roe v. Wade wasn't a federal law, it was constitutional, which means it was at the same level as the freedom of speech and the freedom to bear arms.
There's 22,000 SA victims that are denied access to abortion in states with total bans every year.
Like I said, there is no state with a total ban. Every single state has an exception. Also, I don't think abortion should be in the Constitution, because I also feel like women have the right and men have the right to want to have their children. It shouldn't be illegal or legal across the board anyway. That's why Trump made it back to the states per state. For 50 years, that's what they have been wanting. Everybody has been wanting. For 50 years, scholars and all these people have been arguing ever since Roe v. Wade. And Trump finally gave the people what they wanted, and it being up to each individual state and not being up to constitutional rule across the board, because that itself is unconstitutional. That is communism.
Those 60 women's pain, suffering, and trauma is on your hands every 24 hours like clockwork.
That's just straight up fucked up to say.
Now let's talk about the economy.
Yes, let's, please, my favorite subject.
If you are the average American, your taxes will be higher and your bills will be larger. Donald Trump's tax plan does include some cuts for the middle class, but you're not his focus. 83% of the tax cuts in his tax plan go to people making over $500,000 a year.
This is on his website. You could look this up, the same as me. President Donald Trump passed record-setting tax relief for middle class, doubled child tax credit, slashed more job-killing regulations than any administration have ever done before. Real wages quickly increased as a result, and median household income reached the highest level in the history of our country, while poverty reached record low. President Trump created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones to revitalize neglect communities. President Trump produced a booming economic recovery and record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and women. I mean, come on.
And finally, your bills will be higher because of Trump's tariffs. They will cause inflation, making you pay more for goods from other countries.
I'm so glad he brought up tariffs. Donald Trump recognizes long before he became president that we cannot have a free and open trade if some countries exploit the system at the expense of others. President Trump replaced decades of trade blunders with fair and reciprocal trade that returned jobs, wealth, and manufacturing to America. He canceled the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership, replaced the NAFTA nightmare with the groundbreaking USMCA, and renegotiated the one-sided South Korean deal. President Trump confronted unfair trade practices, imposed tariffs on China that brought billions of dollars into the federal treasury, expanded American agriculture, and opened thousands of new factories. President Trump will implement a 4-year national reshoring plan so that the United States no longer needs to rely on China for essential medical and national security goods, and ban Chinese ownership of all critical infrastructure in the United States. We will bring back our supply chains and build America into the manufacturing superpower of the world. As it is 5:30 in the morning, that is all I have the mental capacity to do right now. I do have more to say, but it's just flabbergasting to me that you follow this child that is clearly uneducated, that only confronts other children that are uneducated and heated adults that he antagonizes to get a reaction to post to his little fans on TikTok. The fact that you can't see through that is what is a little scary to me. Because he doesn't even know what communism is. He asks people, what's communism? What's communist? And he doesn't even have the right answer. So, I don't know. We're a little bit worried about you right now. And if you think that me being trans, even though I'm not a human, has anything to do with my political stance, if that makes you think that I automatically lost all of my common sense and knowledge, then you're very, very wrong. Because did you get rid of your currency? Get rid of your Zim? Like, you're not doing that no more? You watch or listen to Bruce? Do you read Judy? You do any of that? Like, because you cannot possibly be doing that and think along the lines of that Dean guy. And if you don't think along the lines of that Dean guy, then why did you just recently follow him? I don't know. We're a little bit worried.